I told them I liked Michael Bolton. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. Folks, we're going to talk about 5 effective low-gear squads today because there's a gear crunch still. We still need gear. We still need to make sure we're being effective with our roster, and having some teams that can go in and destroy a good squad for really cheap banners is really going to be nice. So I'm going to go over just real briefly what the mechanics are, what kind of Zetas you need, and what teams to look for, and we'll move on. Going to be a short-ish video today. Just want to make sure that we're optimizing our roster as best we can. So before we jump in, just want to remind you guys that if you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that thumbs up button or leave a comment in the comments area. If you haven't subbed yet, that would be also amazing. We're trying to get to 10K subs. If we can get there by the end of the new year, I would be over the top excited, but I don't know if we're gonna get there. Even if we don't, it's been one heck of a ride, and I'm excited by everything that's been developing. You guys are amazing. So let's jump into the game here. Whoa, we're in the game? Madness. All right, guys, here we go. First squad up, we've got the Imperial Troopers with General Veers, Piet, and Dark Trooper. The other 3 are, well, really Range Troopers, pretty much cemented as the 4th. Colonel Stark can be swapped out for Death Trooper, though I think Colonel Stark is better because not only is he required by the by Sith Eternal, he's also just got more utility. So the idea here, guys, and I'll try to link my old Troopers video, and I'm going to be making a new Faction Essentials Troopers video, I think, at some point during the weekend. I know it's Christmas and all, but I think I'll be making that, and how to create your own Trooper squad. It's really good. You got to do some math, but it works really well. The idea, though, is essentially you would need to have a fast Piet. Now, I know that mine is Relic 7. He's going to be 8 as soon as I can because I'm getting Executor. He only needs to be Relic 0. Relic 0 to make this work. Dark Trooper, Relic 2. I mean, if you want to take out teams like Darth Revan and stuff, everyone needs to be more. Of course, that's how it works with all of these squads, guys. That you're going to get more bang for your buck the more you get, the more gear you get. But if you want this, I mean, I've taken out a ton of teams, like Bounty Hunter teams, taking out a lot of First Order teams. Anyone that doesn't restrict your turn meter is good. You need the Veers Zeta, you need the 2 on Piet, but then you don't need Dark Troopers, really. Not truly. And it's also nice to have Starks, but you can see I don't have Starks. This team functions at a really high level. The idea is Dark Trooper just punches everything. Piet needs to go first, like I said, and he'll start the turn meter train rolling. You need to make sure that you have enough speed on the next character to bridge the gap. Make sure they're within 20% speed of Piet, and then after that, everyone else can be super duper slow, and you essentially just send Dark Trooper. You yo-yo him out. You just keep sending him out. He punches guys in the face, and etc. You guys can watch me do this every single match with my alt in the current GAC season and the further ones. I mean, there's no incentive to mod these characters, or to gear these characters right now, because all I need are Piet and Dark Trooper. Next up are Night Sisters, and this is actually a team. I'm guessing the CG hates this team the most. I would bet that if they could choose one team that they regretted, that has caused them the most headaches and the most frustration in the whole world, it's Night Sisters, because they have some crazy turn meter mechanics and the zombie that won't die. You can see mine is at gear 10, and gear 10 is fine for zombie. People want to get her to Relic 5 a lot of times because of the pit rate, and I get that. But if you want to, if this is just for GAC, of course, and maybe Territory Wars, you could sneak this in. But the idea here is you want your characters to die as much as possible. So you put the Zeta on Old Daka. You need Talzin's, both of hers if you can, and Asajj's unique. You don't need her leadership, so you need 4 Zetas on this squad. And in order for it to work, I mean, Daka needs to survive, so you just mod her full of health because she is just really survivable. I would like to get a few more relic levels on Daka. Honestly, like relic 5 is kind of her sweet spot, at least in the current set of the game. And then gear 11 on Talzin's fine. I mean, putting relics on her, she does more damage and stuff, but you just want her to die and die and die and die. And then nice sister zombie. And every time you die, old Daka with her Zeta is going to be gaining a bunch of turn meter and a bunch of maximum health. So she needs to be Zetaed, Relic 5, well, Zetaed and Reliced. And, get her up to 5 is fine. And then Asajj is the other one you probably do want some relics on, just because, I mean, she's helpful to unlock General Skywalker, though I guess now he's significantly easier to unlock, apparently. But she used to want relics anyways, so putting relic 1 on her isn't that bad, and then she ramps up her damage. I mean, if you're going to put more relics on, put them on Asajj. And then Spirit is nice to have geared, but it's also nice to have her die. And so I've sent this squad into General Grievous squads before, and it can get a little bit messy. I wish I had any recordings of it. I'll try to be doing that. Maybe next time I make a video like this, I'll have some recordings in the background for you guys to be able to see just how these teams work. But this is just kind of the overview anyway. So this team just dies and dies and dies. Asajj ramps up her unique. That's why you want the Zeta. Old Daka ramps up, and then eventually Asajj just does an AoE and kills the whole team. You just need to make sure that you don't face anyone who does permanent death. So like teams like Bounty Hunters with Boba Fett or Jango or Mando. Teams with like Supreme Leader Kylo, obviously, Nihilus will do that if you can't kill Nihilus quickly enough, etc. As long as you take on teams that you also want to, you're relying on turn meter, and so teams that can daze you will be a pretty big detriment. Really, this team is so nice against a lot of Grievous teams. This is what I would use on it, and just move along. Next up are Ewoks, and you can see I do have the Omicron on Chief Chirpa, but that's not why I have them here. I've been preaching this for years, honestly, guys, and people don't listen to me, and I get it. People don't like Ewoks, but especially with GAC now, and you have an Omicron, there is no reason, folks, to not get your Ewoks to gear 11. Put a Zeta on Chirpa, put a Zeta on Wicket, and then call it good. The idea is you don't need the Omicron. I like the Omicron, actually. I think if you have a geared up Ewok squad, that's going to be an inevitability for most accounts. Even for my main account, I'm going to get that Chirpa Zeta, or Omicron, because it's good. The idea here, though, folks, and I've said this a billion times, but just to make sure you understand it, Peplu, it wants to be fast. No one ever does this. None of my opponents ever know this, but this isn't super fast. But the idea is 233 speed. So on top of 233 speed, he gains, on his unique, no one knows this, plus 25 speed whenever he doesn't have taunt active. If you don't start with Watt or something, and even if you do, he's not going to start with taunt. He's not, and so he's plus 25 speed, period. Just plus 25% speed. And so, I mean, this speed, 233? Let's say it was 240, just to make poor old Zareth's mind work a little bit faster. So that would be plus another 60 speed on top of this. And so he'd be, almost 300 speed. If you put the Chirpa Zeta or Omicron on him, he would be even faster. Obviously, it'd be plus 30 speed, plus he'd get 25% of that and on top of it. So, I mean, this isn't the fastest Peplu. I'm just going to put it in the back and make and chuckle when people run into a Peplu that's like 360 speed, 350 speed, something like that. But we'll see. Putting relics on Peplu is going to be important eventually, just because you want to maximize his speed, and you need gear to maximize it, and you need 6E mods to be able to do it. And then you want low grade to be maxed out on potency, and otherwise the rest of them are fairly easy. I mean, Wicket, put extra damage on him, etc. And this team way outperforms in GAC. Just put them on defense, throw them in the back. People throw Nest in there, they time out. People throw a Trooper team in there that isn't very fast, and they realize that Peplu is a monster, and once Troopers stop getting turns, Ewoks destroy them. So this team, much, much better than people think it is. People put them to gear at 9 and 10. I'm like, just be disciplined. Be disciplined. put a few extra gear levels on and move along. You don't need them gear 12 really, though you probably do want Wicked and Peplu there now, and probably low grade. Like, all these guys would be nice now that we have the Omicron. If you're doing the Omicron, get them gear 12. That's what I'll be doing. Jedi Training Rey is a team that it's kind of weird. You can see that I have Relic 7 on her and R2-D2, but the thing is, this team on offense, even at Gear 9, I have old alt videos. I couldn't find any footage. I didn't have time to do all my stupid research. I'm sorry, but here's the thing. I know that this works because I've done it. You just need a lot of turn meter, and this whole team works super well, not because it hits hard on its own. Like, you can have Gear 9 on Jedi Training Rey and R2. That's what I used to have. Well, I guess R2 was always relic, but when I use this team. But the idea here isn't that the team hits hard. They can hit hard if you put relics on them, but the point of this is to be able to skate by with no gear. It's because of Jedi Training Rey's ability in her leadership to, whenever someone does a crit, then they can inflict expose on the opponent. You're also getting turn meter because of every action you do because of BB-8, and you're faster because of R2-D2 and BB-8 doing all their stuff. And this team has so much turn meter manipulation. Like, Hero Finn can pass the turn to someone who has high turn meter, so then he just flips turn meter, so then he takes another turn immediately. He does another turn. This team takes a million turns, and eventually you get Illuminated Destiny. Everyone gets all the turn meter. So you need someone that's not going to shut you down on turn meter. You definitely need Jedi Training Rey's first Zeta, her leadership Zeta. You also want BB-8's Wiggle Zeta, or whatever. The Hero Bros are nice to have. Hero Finn's is nicer than Hero Pose. And then, of course, R2-D2 stat sharing is super nice, especially if he's Relic 7. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. But the thing is, as long as your BB-8 outspeeds your opponent, you can put it on defense and really mess with them, or not. So 268 speed BB-8. I did the math right before this. This is equivalent to a 320 speed on BB-8. And so if the team you're facing doesn't have that kind of speed, he's going to go first, but then so is R2-D2, and Jedi Training Rey's going to go a couple times, and the Hero Bros are going to get dragged along by all the turn meter manipulation. So this team doesn't need a lot of speed. You want a lot of speed on BB-8, but then turn meter manipulation on top of expose, so you just a lot of crit chance and make sure you're critting. And this team kills everything because of exposed damage is 20% of someone's max health, and it can just do a lot of damage. It's pretty impressive. I've killed a lot of things with this team. It's less impressive now that I have Jedi Training Rey at Relic 7. But you can totally do it against a full relic, like first order team. I've done it a few times at relics at Gear 9. You got to be careful, because if you get hit once, you die. You just die. But it works, guys. It really does. This team doesn't need a ton of gear to be able to work. It even works on defense, frankly. If your opponent is dumb and slow enough mentally and physically to not be able to keep up with this team, they'll surprise you. They take all the turns and kill whoever they meet. So General Grievous, you can see even on my alt I have a bunch of gear on him, just because I don't want to switch to Prevail Man. Prevail Man actually has General Grievous. He needs relics. He needs both of his Zetas, and this is a pretty heavy Zeta heavy team. You want one on B1, you want one on B2. You can skip Magna Guard, and then you want one on Newt if you can, or if you're using like Droideka, you want that one. But the idea is, even at low relic or low gear levels, so B1 can be at low gear, B2, whatever. The idea is General Grievous needs relics. Like Relic 3 is probably enough. Relic 5, Relic 7 is even better. This is terrible banners, ruinous amounts of banners. But the idea is, every time one of his teammates dies, then he gains a bonus turn. Let's see. Whenever a droid or separatist ally is defeated, General Grievous dispels all debuffs on himself, resets all ability cooldowns, and gains one bonus turn. I keep saying the idea is, but what we're trying to do is get him in a place that he can do a lot of damage. So you mod him well, and I have other videos that show that as well, so you can look those up. But you have Grievous, who is going to just take a lot of AoEs, because you can just put a bunch of garbage characters here, but stagger them so that they don't all die to one AoE, have one super weak one, have one pretty weak one, etc. So then One of them dies, General Grievous goes and does his AoE. Then another one dies, General Grievous goes and does his AoE. Another one dies, General Grievous goes, does his AoE, rinse, repeat, until the entire team is blendered. Now, you've lost a lot of characters and banners and stuff, but General Grievous, at the end of the day, is usually triumphant, and it's because you have a weak team he does that. If you have a stronger team, he does way less damage personally. The rest of the team, the mechanics, work differently because you want the whole team to survive, and that's more fun and effective, essentially. But at the end of the day, General Grievous can just blender an entire team on his own, even if he's the only one with even anything approaching relics. You can do him plus 4 characters at gear 8, for instance. You probably want like 1 at gear 1. Make sure it's a separatist, and then go for it. Like, just have your team slowly die over time, and he will just blender them and have fun. So that's it. This wasn't nearly as short as I was hoping for, but which is not what she said. But guys, what other teams work well in for low relics? I want to hear what you have to say, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.